Lucas Hasty, ankle won't practice. Josh Norman, ribs, limited. Deebo shin, limited. Jalen Moore, knee, limited. Trent Williams, get a vet day. And Elijah Mitchell won't practice, finger.
Any update on Elijah, just how serious that is, and when you would be able to get it back?
I mean, he just had it yesterday. Today it's not good enough to practice. I think he'll go Sunday, but we got to see it day to day.
And then any word on Dre Greenlaw's practice window?
Yeah, he's going to get out there today. We'll open it up and see how the week goes. Tim, it's hard.
Did you find out when Mitchell broke it in the game?
I didn't get to ask him. But I'll ask him when I'm out there. So you can ask me
For
Friday.
story value,
What's that?
it works for story value.
No, totally, I get it, and I probably would have if we had 2 days. It's been a little hectic these last 24 hours.
Did you say Tart would be back out there too?
Yes.
What's your message to the team this week to make sure they carry over the urgency they had last week and don't overlook the Jaguars?
I mean, I said, Jacksonville is pretty easy when you start watching the tape not to overlook them. You talk as a coach, you read the numbers and stuff, but when you watch the tape, they'll see, as they've seen today, this morning, that they're a good team and they're getting a lot better. I don't think that people let down after something like that, but you got to realize the emotions that go into a Monday night game is a little bit bigger, where we were coming from with how bad we had played before that. So the emotions were high, and so you got to watch for that stuff. Your emotions can't be high every single day, but that means we got to practice accordingly every single day and make sure they're ready to go on Sunday.
Excuse me, Brunskill, I think, faced Don one-on-one, close to 20 snaps, and not quite, but you could, I realize you weren't like running over right guard necessarily, but he seemed to hold his own, if not better, on a lot of those snaps. What did you think of his performance?
I thought he played great. It's no one's going to play perfect, especially versus Aaron, who is probably the best defense player I've ever seen, without a doubt. So he's a tough deal, and anyone who gets him one-on-one struggles. It was good to get him to play in the run a lot, I think, which helps. But we always try to avoid being the one-on-one, but they make it tough with their fronts and stuff like that. And when Brunskill had to do it, he rose to the occasion, did a hell of a job. And the 4th and 6th touchdown, I thought, was the biggest one.
Is it fair to say that Brunskill matches up well with Aaron Donald? It seems he's had success against him in the past, or is that a stretch for anyone?
Yeah, no one matches up well. That's why we like Brunskill. I mean, you guys will see some clips throughout the game where he might get beat and it doesn't look good, but for the course of the game, that Brunskill is a very dependable player, and he never. The game's never too big for him. It doesn't matter who he's going against. Whether the first time we ever threw him in a tackle, and he had to go. One of the games he had to play the whole game at 19 versus Arizona. Did a good job on Chandler and guard versus Aaron, but Brunskill, he's going to give all he's got no matter who he's playing.
Part of that pass protection is Jimmy's ability to get the ball off the pass. Is that his best asset that he brings in the quarterback position? Is he can get rid of that in under 2.5 seconds?
Yeah, I mean it's important that the guys get open that fast too, and but I mean Jimmy's best asset is just looking how he throws. How many people have the quick twitch and can decide to throw and the ball get out of his hand physically as fast as him. I don't know anyone who can do it faster.
How closely did you evaluate Trevor Lawrence, or was his selection at number 1 such a foregone conclusion that you'd moved on to other guys?
Yeah, I watched it, but not nearly like the other guys. We pretty much knew would have bet a lot of money on when he was going, so we didn't spend much time on it.
What have you seen from him this season?
We've always seen his talent, and you see it on the tape. And he's getting to play a lot. He's been thrown into a lot of situations, and you can see that him, along with their whole team, is starting to get better and better.
What about Josh Allen in 19? Was it just he was more of an outside linebacker and it didn't really kind of fit your scheme as well?
He fit because we're always when we're up there trying to look for pass rushers, and we felt pretty strong about the 2 top ones in the draft with him and the guy we ended up getting, Nick. So we were real high on Josh, but we're a little higher on Nick.
You guys have struggled so much on 3rd downs prior to this week. Were you able to sort of discern why this week you sort of took a step forward in that aspect and were so successful?
Yeah, you've got to go to each play. There's not one answer, but we definitely played our best game on 3rd down versus a team that was pretty good at it too. And guys made some plays. We had a couple good looks, and when we didn't have good looks, we were still able to convert it. I think it was like a 3rd and 7. The one Deebo got, they were taking that away, and Jimmy threw it in the tightest window. Jimmy's Deebo stepped to it, and we got a big game. So there's a number of plays like that in the game that guys just performed at a high level. And when we did have the right looks, like on the fourth down and stuff, guys did even better, made a touchdown.
How much did having Jeff on Monday night impact your willingness to go after that 40 rush total that you're
Having
talking
Jeff?
about? Yeah.
I mean, it made it a lot easier. It would still have been the same goal, but you know, it's Jeff. You know, he ran the ball hard. He helped out a lot when he didn't have the ball, which was huge, keeping us out on the field. He converted a 3rd and 2 that kept us out there for a while. But if he wasn't there, we were going to try the same stuff with other guys too.
What happened, or what's been happening in that position group that enabled you guys to part ways with Drake Kirkpatrick yesterday?
We've just been one over a corner for a while, and there's only so long you can take it. We usually only have 6 on our roster. I mean 5 up on game day, and so we've just been going extra with the 2 rookies that we have on, and we knew we wouldn't have the luxury of keeping those guys all year. Bringing 2 guys back from IR, some guys won't coming back. We knew we had to make that decision sooner or later.
So right now you have 3 openings on the active roster.
I think so.
What you just do those on
I think we do
Saturday?
2. Yeah, I think we do it on Saturday. We always do them on Saturday before 1. But I know you're trying to give me on the numbers exactly right now.
Yeah.
Way too many defenses.
And
in
so
my
where
head.
the guys you do that to, will they be active on Sunday?
Hopefully, if they have a good week of practice.
And who are those guys?
Are you talking about Tart and Greenlaw?
Is that?
Their practice window is starting this week, and
Okay.
hopefully they're good enough to go on Sunday.
And so you guys haven't used the practice window, the whole practice window. You guys pretty much have the philosophy that when they're ready to practice, they're ready to play?
No, I mean, I think it depends on each guy. Some guys have longer injuries that we're trying. I mean, Greenlaw, we've been trying to get back each week for a little bit, but his injury is a lot longer. Or we've had some guys who were, you know, exactly at 2.5, 3 weeks, and you're right there, so you know when they come back, they're fully healthy. Other guys, they got to get back and they got to prove it. Even with Kittle, you know, he had to prove it throughout practice, and that's why we kind of eased him in. Last thing we want to do, and we want Greenlaw back very badly, but we don't want him to go too fast and only get him for 1 game.
With how well Aziz has played, is it going to be tough for Greenlaw to unseat him back at that will position?
I mean, we'll see. I mean, Greenlaw's played at extremely high level too. You know, I think Greenlaw's done a hell of a job in his career here for us. You know, he's just getting back into practice for the first time in a while, so I do think it'd be hard to unseat Aziz right away, just because of what Aziz has done. He's played at a high level, and I think that'll take Greenlaw a while to have the chance to pass him up again.
Have you ever seen a number 1 wide receiver who can also play running back as well as Deebo Samuel?
I haven't had one. I mean, I think there's, no, I haven't. But Percy Harvin had a chance like that, and I've seen Cordell Patterson. You know, they did Tavon Austin a little bit over the years, but Deebo's been pretty special at it.
There's a lot of examples of running backs who can play a little receiver. What does it do for an offense to have a receiver who can play running back?
Just the threat in different matchups. I mean, everything's personnel driven and who the matchups are, and it's the same thing with how big of a deal it is having a fullback who can also go out there and play outside of the box, like we have with Juice. And then when you have receivers who go back to running back, and also receivers who don't mind doing some stuff that a fullback would do. Especially if you're playing a receiver and you use him as a fullback, you might be going against a nickel as opposed to a linebacker. So there's all those different matchups you can do, and you have willing guys who have the ability to do it, but they're also physical enough to do it. It just helps you come up with a lot of things to put players in positions to make it easier for them.
It would seem from the outside that having to do all that stuff would add a lot to his mental load too. How have you seen him grow and handle that as you kind of added more and more to his play?
Deebo?
Yeah, Deebo.
Deebo's one of the most natural players I've been around. He's very smart. He's very perceptive. I think he's extremely socially aware. He kind of has an idea of how everyone is, and things aren't that hard to him. I think what Deebo's gotten better at is sometimes when you have a tendency for things not to be hard, you don't always go through every single little thing. And I think he's done a much better job of going through the little things, so he can be closer to perfect than not.
Was there a point where you saw that shift in him?
Yeah, I think it helped a ton for him when Emmanuel came here. That's when I saw the biggest. I mean, Deebo's one of the guys we were counting on a lot as a rookie, and I think when Emmanuel got here, he really saw a true pro and how, not just how he prepared, but how he attacked practice every day. And you know, Emmanuel only knew one way. Like, he went as hard as he could all the time, and if he couldn't, he had to protect him from himself. And think that was really cool for Deebo to get his see. I think that's why they clicked so much. And then coming back into his second year, I know how hard he was preparing to not have a sophomore slump. And then he had those injuries, which kind of made it inevitable. And to watch the frustration he had all year, that you could tell he was very hungry coming into this year.
What do you and Bobby Turner need to see from Trey Sermon for him to start getting into the game more, than the offense more than he has?
Yeah, I think, and you guys asked that a lot, and right now it's nothing against Trey. Trey had an opportunity when guys got hurt, and I thought he got better in each game with that. But he didn't do enough for us to put him ahead of Elijah or Jeff. And so it's pretty much as simple as that. Like if Jeff wasn't out there or Elijah wasn't, he would have taken one of those two's roles. When it came to our third downs, we always, started out with Raheem, then it went to Hasty, and now we've gone with Juice. Not always wanted to put a rookie in a third down role. So he had an opportunity when there was injuries, but those guys have come back, and we saw those guys ahead of him.
What is it that you look for in a third down back? What are the qualities that you want in a third down back?
You got to be able to have the capability to block. It starts with that. If not, you're just another receiver out there who can't block. But so you got to be able to do that, and after that, you want someone to beat man coverage.
Go ahead, Kyle.
Good.
Thank you, guys. Jimmy Ward mentioned this morning in an interview that there was a defensive captains that called the captains for the defense called a meeting the night before at the hotel. How important is it for captains to step up, especially now with the situations that are happening during the season? And did you talk to the captains at all? Did you know about that meeting?
No, I didn't. I only knew because it took about a minute longer than usual. They always have an offensive meeting, a defensive meeting that lasts like 8 minutes long, and then we review a couple things, and I sit in there, and they all come in together, and I do a 10-minute team meeting. So it just took me a minute longer than usual, and I haven't even asked anybody about it. It's probably 24 hours behind on a few things. But I think it's great. I've seen those that they're bad. I've seen them when they're good. I really don't know what was said or care much because I like the result. I think it's always great when players hold each other accountable, and it's not the way that people want it to see. When they see someone grabbing someone by their face mask or yelling at someone on the sidelines, that's usually just for other people. You want people who genuinely want to win and do it the right way. And when you have players who are around each other all the time, then it goes a lot more than the coaches if those guys can get other people to pick each other up.
Another Brunskill question. I don't mean to imply he physically dominated Aaron Donald, but there was one play, 8-yard run on the first drive that Deebo had in the red zone, where he did physically dominate Donald and threw him down. Did you note that, or have others note that and said, "You're awesome"?
I want to use the word dominate. I'm not trying to poke the bear too much.
You gotta play with you.
But yeah, I thought he did as good as he could, which is as good as I've seen anybody do. Aaron is a different dude, so that was a huge challenge, and those guys did as good as they could with him.